Hello guys and welcome back. So today I'm going to show you how to set up a CO2 system for your aquarium. I'm going to go into detail about every single component you will need for your CO2 system. This is our CO2 cylinder. This is a 2-liter CO2 cylinder which you can get at almost any pet shop. So next up is our dual stage regulator. So this regulator comprises of 2 gauges, a bubble counter, a solenoid, and a valve to control the amount of bubbles inside the bubble counter. Next up we have glycerine. I use glycerine inside my bubble counter because it's a more accurate way of measuring the bubbles flowing out of your bubble counter. This is your CO2 diffuser. Your diffusers can range from small to big depending on your tank size and what your requirements are for CO2 inside of your system. This is our CO2 indicator solution. So this solution will gauge how much CO2 is inside of your water column. It will turn blue if there is not enough, green if it is perfect, and yellow when there is too much CO2 inside of your system. This is our CO2 indicator. So the solution goes inside of your indicator, and this will show the color green, blue, or yellow. Next up, you will need some CO2 tubing. CO2 tubing is a bit more harder than your normal airline tubing because CO2 can escape from the tubing. Our first step is going to be to attach our regulator onto our CO2 cylinder bottle. Make sure that your CO2 regulator is fastened tightly onto our CO2 cylinder. Leaks can occur, and this will shorten the lifespan of your CO2 cylinder. The next step is for us to fill our bubble counter with our glycerine. So the first step is to unscrew the cap on the bubble counter. We are then going to pour our glycerine inside the bubble counter, about 3/4 full. Then we just screw the cap on tightly. Our next step is going to be to attach our CO2 tubing. Unscrew the cap on the bubble counter. Place your CO2 tubing through the cap and push your CO2 tubing onto the nipple of the bubble counter. Make sure to screw the cap back on tightly. Our next step is going to be to attach our CO2 diffuser onto our CO2 tubing. When attaching your diffuser to the tubing, make sure you push the diffuser inside the tubing as far as possible to prevent it from shooting off. We are then going to fill our CO2 indicator with our CO2 indicator solution. So first, take off the cap. Fill up your indicator with the solution to this line you see here. So this is our CO2 system, comprising of our CO2 cylinder, our regulator, bubble counter, CO2 tubing, and our diffuser. This is our CO2 indicator. The purpose of a solenoid is to keep CO2 from entering your system when the system is turned off. It also helps with you not adjusting your CO2 system every single time you turn it on and off with this valve. This valve is extremely sensitive, and this allows you to get a precise measurement of the amount of CO2 entering your system. For demonstration purposes, I placed the system in our shrimp tank. Here you can see the CO2 going through the tubing into the diffuser and creating fine bubbles that will dissolve inside your water column. This is our indicator. Our indicator will turn blue if there is not enough CO2, green when there is the perfect amount of CO2, and yellow when there is too much CO2. When adjusting your CO2, start by opening it only a little bit, allowing only a certain amount of bubbles per second to enter your system for you to gauge how much CO2 is being dissolved in your water column. The indicator should show you in about 1 hour. Here is a small time lapse where you can see the indicator starting to turn yellow because there is too much CO2 in the system. Here you can see our CO2 system inside of our planter tank. This CO2 diffuser is much bigger than the small one I used for demonstration purposes. Always remember to check your CO2 levels inside your tank, because too much CO2 can be lethal to your fish, shrimp, and even your plants. I hope with this video I was able to help you setting up a CO2 system. Thank you for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing, and enjoy the video of our 4-foot planter tank.